What are the top 5 things that I wish I'd known before we got goats? Today I'm going to tell you. We have got ourselves 9 goats, and our first herd of goats we got were some Sanians or Sanins. I'm not entirely sure how you say it, but you know what I mean. The big white milking goats. And that's because that's what I had grown up with. And I thought, having some milking goats here would be a great idea. And my husband's allergic to dairy, and he could tolerate A2 milk if it was in small quantities, which is exactly what goats have. It's a different type of casein, which is the protein in the milk. What I wish I'd known, however, was that my family don't like goat's milk. It does have its own unique taste, and some people can taste it and some people can't. And it does vary between breeds a little bit. Some say the little Nigerian dwarfs that we can't get here yet don't taste like goat milk, but unfortunately what we could get was Sanins, and my family just wouldn't drink it. Number 2 is that some strains have increased health needs. So it's really important that you get them from a breeder that raises their animals the way you want to raise yours. Our Sanians that we grew up with and the ones that we had here had very little health problems. They needed their hooves cut super regularly, but other than that, we had no requirement to worm them or vaccinate them. They just thrived here. We had no problems with iodine deficiencies or selenium deficiencies, no problems whatsoever. Unfortunately, when we decided to swap from doing dairy goats to getting boer goats or boer goats, I'm not entirely convinced on how you pronounce it, B-O-E-R. You tell me. When we swapped to them, we realized just how easy we had it. Different goat strains will have different requirements on hoof trimming, on worming, on different mineral requirements, and so it's really key that you do your research before you get them. These goats, they needed wormed every 4 weeks. On the upside, their hooves barely need trimmed, but they needed to be vaccinated. Now, number 3 ties into this, and that was that they can be affected really strongly by low iodine in the soil. We had all sorts of problems with birthing. We had miscarriages, stillbirths, babies born with goiters, babies developing goiters, babies failing to thrive but being really chunky. And then we found out we had an iodine deficiency in the soil, which I was really surprised at because we're only 1 kilometre from the coast, which is less than a mile. And I would have thought we would have had plenty of iodine, but not for these goats. So now we have to give them iodine in their water, and we also have to give them an injection of iodine when they're pregnant. And goats really need copper as well. And if you're doing minerals for both goats and sheep together, you're better off copper bolusing your goats because sheep can't tolerate high doses of copper. Number 4 is buck stank. I had no idea how gross bucks could be. We had borrowed bucks in the past and not had much of a problem with how gross they were because they were only with us for 6 weeks. And it was kind of expected that they would be all manky and disgusting while they were in rut. But here we are with our goat further along the track. Rutting season's well and truly done, and he quite regularly applies his makeup with his own urine all over his own face. He's friendly enough and wants to come up for a cuddle with his orangey beard. No thanks, Arnie. Buck stank can also taint milk, so if you have to keep a buck, it's really ideal if you can find somewhere to move him away from the girls if you're planning on milking them. And number 5 was I was not prepared for how much I would actually fall in love with the goats we've got. We bought them so that they could be a decent meat source for the farm. Unfortunately, what's actually ended up happening is we have fallen in love with their character, and we've ended up getting some sheep to put in the freezer instead. Goats have quite a different personality to what sheep do, and they're kind of fun, they're very quirky, they're very friendly, and they're quite a different beast to the sheep I've grown up with. Even our goats that aren't bottle fed are really friendly and will come to treats. What things surprised you when you got your goats? Tell me about it in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about raising goats on the homestead, check out this playlist here. There's lots of handy little tips and tricks in it for you. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you in the next one.